So good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining Trace Coffee Conversations. I'm really excited. So this morning is Sarah Iglehart, and she's with Indy Chamber, and she does such good things for our community. So I am pumped that she is able to join. Sarah, thanks for having coffee.
Thank you so much for having me. I am honored to be included, and I am excited for the conversation this morning.
Oh, I love it. So Sarah is VP of Regional Economic Development for the Indy Chamber. So big. She was formerly at IEDC. She's on the board for the Speakeasy International Center, the YMCA at the Athenaeum, like all things that we all love, and making such a big impact. And we met when it was all about childcare. And then we stayed in touch because we have babies. So Sarah, thanks again. I'm so excited. Can you explain what you do? Like, what do you do at the Chamber?
Absolutely. So I, as you mentioned, am the VP of Regional Economic Development. So what that means is my team, the Indy Partnership, we focus on business attraction to the Indianapolis region. So the 9-county Indy region, we are out trying to tell our story for both business and talent and why it's a great place to be here. So if you're not familiar with economic development, you see the headlines in the news, right? So Emphasis is a good example, building a new campus out at the airport. There's a whole team of people at both the state, local, and regional level that are behind those projects, that are working those relationships, that are trying to close those deals and really showcase the best that the Indy region has to offer. And so I am honored and privileged to get to be a part of that team that works kind of behind the scenes and work with all of my amazing partners throughout the state and getting those projects done to try to make the Indy economy even stronger and better.
Well, I know you're doing good things. That was bad. Hopefully it's not on both of us. I know you're doing good things because anytime I'm out in the community and someone talks Indy Chamber and your name comes up, everyone goes, "Oh, she's the best."
Like, oh, that's so sweet.
Nice thing. And obviously what a great legacy that is, just to have when people hear your name. They go, oh, like it's really just lovely. And it came up yesterday at the Speakeasy. We're like, she's the best. So how did you get here? So how did you get to economic development, and why is that important to you? And how'd you get to where we are now?
Yeah, so I'm really fortunate. I have had kind of a long trail of women and mentors that have helped open doors for me and pull me in and invite me into some different circles. And I have to mention, I contribute a lot of this back to a teacher that I had in high school. And I saw that you interviewed Angie Stocklin in this conversation earlier. It's actually Angie's aunt was my high school teacher down in Southern Indiana. So I'm not originally from Indianapolis. My network was not originally here, but I had a high school teacher that managed an internship program. And I actually thought in high school that I wanted to be an eye doctor. So I interned in an eye doctor's office and I realized I hated it. And I had no idea what to do for my second semester. And my teacher, Mrs. Condra, shout out Mrs. Condra, connected me to someone at the local hospital, was working in the marketing department. And so I took that internship and I learned so much and had so much fun. And so when I went to college, I was still a little unsure of what I wanted to do. But my first summer back in my hometown, I had reached out to that contact from my high school internship. And she connected me to the local economic development organization. And I interned there. And then every internship and job that I've taken since then has been in the economic development space. And it's been, one person connecting me to another opportunity. And so it's like this small little economic development world has like really carried me through these different roles and taught me so much. And so I contribute being where I am today to all of those fabulous mentors that started all the way back in high school.
I love that. Angie's going to love hearing that too. I know. So, and also for those that are in Indy, you know this, but for those outside of Indy that might be watching, Indy is this amazing network of like 3 degrees from Kevin Bacon. Like you can take anyone to anywhere, and it is very, very cool. Yes. I love that. So where have you, because we always kind of ask this, because economic development is hard and we just came, I mean, we're still in it, but like, hopefully we don't go back if everyone contributes to the group project of life, but hopefully we don't go backwards. And so COVID was hard, especially in economic development, right? And I know that specifically in Indy, we're still, crawling our way back out, but where did you find some of that struggle? And then end with maybe some things now, like where are you finding some of that delight, some of that joy?
Sure, absolutely. So I took my role leading regional economic development in January of 2020. So imagine my charge, right, is business attraction. And so my first year, I felt like I just did not get enough accomplished. There's only so much you can do in business attraction during a global pandemic. But I think that provided us an opportunity really to kind of look at some of our, like everyone, look at some of our internal processes. It also was a really good opportunity, I think, for a lot of people to kind of reevaluate your priorities. I would say that, I also, as you know, had a second baby during that time. And so now I look back kind of a year later and the struggles are very different. And now I think the season of life that I'm in, it's trying to give your all in both motherhood and in the workplace. And so just finding that balance with, child sickness and all the things that come up that everyone encounters has been kind of the biggest struggle for me. I think I can tend to be a little bit of a perfectionist, and I struggle a little bit when I don't feel like, everything is exactly how I would want it to be. And so I think it's been a learning opportunity to give myself a little bit of grace and recognize, giving your 100% is really all you can do. I would say also during this time though, we talk about delights. I have my children obviously are the light of my life, but during the pandemic had a lot of, some extra time and got to reprioritize and was so inspired. I have so many friends that are entrepreneurs and started business during COVID, some that went back to school. And so I have just amazing women that have really inspired me to kind of look more at hobbies outside of work and find some new creative outlets and things that bring me joy outside of the traditional 9 to 5. And I think that was kind of a new experience in that my day job is, while no matter how much I love my day job, having some other things to focus on and find inspiration in outside of that is really important.
Oh, that's so good. I think a lot of people, especially during COVID, kind of, and I say a lot of people, I mean, a lot of women all of a sudden had this like identity crisis.
Yes.
What do I do with all this time? Do I like my kids as much as I thought I liked them? Like all these things. What do I like to do? That's a book. Like, it's so good. I love that people are kind of finding their joy in different places and just finding that reevaluation. So with that, in all the things that you're doing for our community and for our state, for our city, like how can the community show up? What do you want the community to know? What can the community do? Where's some of your focus?
I think that the biggest thing that the community can do right now is just always remember to be an Indy advocate, right? So whether that's with your friends with businesses that are here or outside the market, to your friends that are just maybe looking to relocate, right? Indy has such a tight community and we're really, really welcoming to new people coming in. And there's just a lot about our story that we don't tell enough. We hear this all the time when we're talking with site consultants, when we're talking with talent that might be interested in coming, right? Is that we're just a little too humble sometimes. And so stop being humble, brag about our city, brag about our region. We have some amazing assets throughout the 9 counties. And I want the community to be our salespeople right along with us.
I love that. We just had a conversation yesterday with someone who is from Cleveland, and they're like, Cleveland kind of, no offense to anyone watching this from Cleveland, but like Cleveland kind of sucks a little bit, but people that are from Cleveland love Cleveland, right? And they like brag about it all the time. And I'm like, that never happens in Indy. Like, it's true. We are way too humble for our own good, because there are so many things happening in the city that all of a sudden I'll get back on social, from not being like paying attention over the weekend, or just being in my own headspace of what I have. And I'm like, shoot, I missed 3 to 4 really awesome events or really awesome things that you couldn't go to all of them. I mean, there's so much happening, especially as a transplant. My coffee is telling me that it's done, everyone.
That's important. That is priorities. If you need to,
it's like, we're done. But like, coming from a bigger city, and I came from Northern Virginia and over, I had that fear of, what is this sleepy place that I've kind of gotten into? But I have to say, there is tons to do. There is, again, everyone's connected in some way. And it is just a really great place to also raise kids. Not that you have to have kids or anyone has to have kids. I'm not advocating for kids, but like, if you want to, it's a great place to have kids.
Absolutely. And I think, I've lived in bigger cities, and I think what's amazing is just the amount of things that you can do, and it's manageable. It's not like a huge production to go to an NFL game in Indianapolis or an NBA game, and to take in all of these amazing things and all of these cultural amenities that we have. And I think that we get a little bit spoiled by that, and we forget to just tout all of those amazing things.
It's so good. The city's great. So, okay, big question, always the finale question of our nugget of a conversation. How, Sarah, make the face, everyone makes the face. How are you leaving your trace?
It's such a big question. I saw Angie's, and she said it's ever evolving, and I could not agree more with that. And I think mine's kind of twofold. I obviously am really focused on our regional economy and how we stay competitive. And I'm currently, knee deep and looking at comparative data with our peers and how do we move forward. And so, I think it's important for me that I'm doing everything that I can to ensure that we have a really strong economy and are moving things forward. But I think on the flip side of that, which is kind of even more impactful, I talked earlier about a lot of mentors and a lot of women in my life that have opened some doors and facilitated some connections that helped to get me where I am. And I think it's really important, and one of the most important things for me to do in my career is to pay that forward, right? And to open those doors for particularly the women behind me, and to make sure that we're kind of all supporting each other and reaching our goals, whatever those may be, or, even just being an ear to listen to. And, like you did for me, whenever I was that new working mom with no clue what I was doing. So I think just being able to pay it forward and help that next generation of leadership get to their goals.
Sarah, you are so good. So I'm going to be one of those people too, that every time I hear your name, I'm like, oh, she's so good.
You're so sweet.
Oh, thank you so much for having coffee and sharing your journey and sharing what you do in the community, and, and kind of giving that call to action on how people can contribute to where we live. So thank you so much for having coffee.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor. And I look forward to chatting with you again soon.
See ya.